Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today. And I really wanted to talk about this upcoming 2024 free agency class. And I understand that we are still a whole ways away from that, but the conversation needs to start right here, right now. People will be like, Space, we're in the middle of OTAs. Space, we're not even at training camp, X, Y, and Z. I don't care. We need to start having these conversations because there are going to be notable names that if you are looking to give a contract extension to, you need to keep an eye out on who is on the list. So we're going to go through all that and really give a preview for what 2024 is going to probably look like and who the Cowboys should prioritize in my personal opinion. And with that being said, before we get started, if you can hit the like button to show your support for not only the channel but the video, that'd be greatly appreciated. Also subscribe if you're new and hit the notification bell as well if you want to stick around for more. So with that being said, let's go through the list and we'll just see how things go. And if you want to participate, go down into the comment section and say who you would want to re-sign the most. What is the highest priority free agent on this list? And then on top of that, who would you not want to come back? So let's go ahead and get started. So the first on the list is Tyron Smith. And he is in a situation where really it feels like the swan song type of year for him. It's not like we don't have the replacement. We know who it is. Clearly in OTAs, the Cowboys have been giving Tyler Smith all the reps at left tackle. And what that tells me is he's the dude moving forward. And I'm pretty sure that many of us would be sitting here going like, okay, then why aren't they playing him now? And I think they want to just go with the best five. That's kind of what Stephen Jones has already alluded to. You should go check out that video that I put out on that if you haven't. But, you know, I'm not bringing back Tyron Smith unless it's like a backup type of contract, like a $3 million deal. And if we know he's the backup, I'm having a different conversation point there. But he's done after this year. I think he retires. So I don't really need to think about re-signing him unless it's backup. He's not getting starter level money moving forward. If he wants to get that, go somewhere else. Next, we got Tony Pollard. This is a huge decision for the Cowboys to make. Now, for me, I'm not a fan of paying running backs. And I think that Tony Pollard is lucky to not have as much mileage on him. So if the Cowboys gave him like a 2 to 3 year extension, I'm not complaining. But it really comes down to the money, right? You're probably looking at an average value of about $7 to $9 million for a player of his caliber, which if you use him how I would think, sure, that's fine. But it really comes down to how you structure the deal and how the cap looks. Like if it's a 3-year deal and it's really like the first year or two is guaranteed, that's not a bad contract because you can get out of that in 2 years. And on top of that, you can always draft a replacement and move forward if that was the approach. I would go with that. But, that's something that we need to think about. Like, if Tony Pollard has another damn good year, do you re-sign him? Now, that's up to you guys to decide. Me personally, just go draft another running back and move from there. Next, we got Stefan Gilmore. And I think that given his age and considering his contract is about to expire, I don't know what his average value is going to look like. I think it's going to be very determinant on how 2023 looks. Because when you think about it, Stefan Gilmore doesn't really have a whole lot left in the tank, maybe. And when he's going to be 34, you really don't know how much more he has. And if the Cowboys were trying to make sure they don't get caught with their pants down, you might want to think about re-signing him for like a 1-year, $3 to $5 million deal and then just draft a corner and move from there. But Stefan Gilmore was really like the rental to help out that position for this year, and that's it. So that's just me. I'm not paying Stefan Gilmore in the $10 million range. That's for damn sure. I don't think he's worth that anymore. But 3 to 5, sure, for like a year or two. Next, you go to Dorance Armstrong, and I think with Dorance Armstrong, while he has proven to be a solid player at the position, I think that your replacement, Sam Williams, he's coming along great, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys drafted another edge guy to churn and burn, and Dorance he gets his contract elsewhere, right? And you get a comp pick for that. It really comes down to that, so keep an eye out, because right now his average value is around $6 million. And I wouldn't be shocked if he re-signs with the Cowboys for like a 2 to 3 year contract of that amount. But, like, it really comes down to, I think, Sam Williams' growth. Like, where is the trajectory? So that's something to keep in mind. Next is Jayron Kearse. That's going to be huge because I think one thing I'm keeping an eye out on is DeMarvion Overshown, the linebacker out of Texas, because he plays like the tweener that we see how Kearse does. But I would look at it this way. If Kearse has a good year, you're going to have to pay him considerably. And right now they have his average value as $5 million. I think that it's going to be more than that, somewhere in the $7 to $8 million range. But what kind of worries me, and if you're a fan of Jayron Kearse, the Cowboys paying Donovan Wilson is going to put a whole fork in all of that. So I wouldn't be shocked if Kearse isn't on this team in 2024, but I could be wrong there. Next is Jordan Lewis. DaRon Bland is the Jordan Lewis replacement, right? And I think that if the Cowboys look at it fully, you're looking at losing possibly Stefan Gilmore and Jordan Lewis. And if that happens, you don't really have another guy outside of Bland and Diggs, right? And that's kind of what worries me in all this, because Diggs is also a free agent and he's going to command a massive amount of money. We're talking about $15+ million a year. And so if things go sour, which, by the way, Trevon Diggs might be a franchise tagged player, and you don't pay the other two guys, you're probably drafting another cornerback high. It is what it is, but that's the truth of the matter. Next, you move on to Terence Steele. Now, I'm also going to throw in Tyler Biadasz in this mix because, as I talked about in the video about our offensive line, this offensive line needs to have continuity long term. Terence Steele's young. He had the ACL injury. You look at a guy like Tyler Biadasz, he has gotten better every single year. You're going to have to give up a lot of money for those two guys. Now, again, you can stretch the contract however you want to ensure that you're not getting hit with the cap hits. So don't let it fool you that the Cowboys can't afford all these players or nearly all these players. It really just comes down to how you structure these deals. But if I'm the Cowboys, do you pay Terence Steele? Do you pay Tyler Biadasz? Like, what would be the, important factor in all this is really Steele, right? Like, you need to have really damn good tackles, considering that the blind sides are really more valuable nowadays than before. Because usually it was like if you had a really good left tackle, you were set and you can kind of just do good elsewhere. But now you really need damn good tackles on both sides. I know that sounds really stupid, but if you get what I'm saying, like, it just seems like the way the league has gone and things have developed, you really need to have good tackles on both sides of of your line. And I mean, you're going to need good players, but I think that you could probably find another starting caliber center in the draft. Then, it's harder to find a tackle that's good, above average, Pro Bowl-esque than a center. That's just my opinion. But I would try to pay both of them, right? Because then you get stability on your offensive line. You have your right tackle, your left tackle, and your center set. And then your left guard, you're just going to have to figure out who that's going to be. And your right guard, Zach Martin, until the wheels fall off. So there's that. Next, you got Malik Hooker. I think Malik Hooker's done in Dallas after this year, unless it's a cheap deal. You're probably looking at about $3 to $5 million to re-sign him. I think you can do better elsewhere. It's just, he had a really good first start, but this last season, he didn't really play well, and he didn't help towards the stretch end of the season, and that kind of concerns me because there's going to be a lot of churning in 2024, especially if the Cowboys elect to do so. Next, you have Dante Fowler. I think he's gone. You sign a 1-year contract. It's probably like a prove-it deal, and then he kind of goes elsewhere because, again, do you bring him back for depth purposes, right? And I don't think so. And speaking of depth purposes, you got to talk about Jonathan Hankins. I think that he's done after this year. Mozzie Smith's going to be here. You have Osa coming up on his contract, but you could probably draft another dude, and you just keep going from there, right? CJ Goodwin, special teams guy, he's going to be a minimum contract type of player, and then you have other guys like Chuma Edoga, Trent Sieg, to Kearse, McKinley, Ronald Jones, Neville Gallimore, Rico Dowdle, Will Grier, Sean McEwen, and Malik Davis. Like, I'm not going to put too much stock into that because now you're kind of getting into the barrel bottom portion of it, and it's just, if I'm being honest with you guys, this is not a real concern for me. I think that the more concerning free agents as I look at this list are Trevon Diggs, Tony Pollard, Terence Steele, Tyler Biadasz, and maybe Jayron Kearse, depending on how the season goes, and that's 5 guys off the top of my head, right? And I'm not even talking about the other extensions and all this other stuff, but when you put it all together, the main hurdle to getting all these deals done, and this is not me caping for Dak Prescott, it's the truth of the matter. Dak Prescott's $54 million cap hit is really going to hold up a lot of these re-signings. And if you're looking at it from the agent perspective, it's good to get that's going to help you get a deal done because that can lower the cap hit by $30 million, hopefully, and you can start signing all these dudes, right? And I think if the Cowboys want to play it a certain way, this is really the juncture path that they have, right? 2023 is going to be the all-in push for what they want to do. If it ends in a failure, you're looking at a rough 2024 if you don't extend Dak. And it's going to be in the team's best interest to do it, even if we don't think that in terms of like the next 5 years, you're like, I don't know. You want to make sure you open up that cap space, and that's going to be key. If you don't want that to happen, you're punting 2024, basically. You're letting all these dudes walk, and then after 2024, 2025, you're starting a full-on rebuild. That's just how I'm kind of looking at this thing, being completely truthful with you guys. And I know that's a little, teaser for what I'm going to talk about in the What If the Cowboys Fail in 2023 video. But again, we'll talk about like what could cause them to fail and all this other stuff. So stay tuned for that. But that's my thoughts, guys. Just let me know down below what you think. Who would you prioritize and all this other stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.